Victoria. They were described as freak storms. We've got more footage on that coming up through the hour. But for now, really good to have you along with us on this Thursday, November the 5th. I'm Michelle Mackey. Let's jump right into our developing stories. We continue to break some records for heat in Ontario. The potential is there once again today, but that's not going to last because we have a potent storm moving in tomorrow, and that's going to be a big game changer for the eastern half of the country, bringing us some really strong winds too. And Friday night flurries in Alberta, and we're also going to see some high elevation snow in BC as well. Systems across the country today clear for the most part in through Ontario. Some early morning drizzle expected, but then there's your low pressure system that's setting up for Friday, and that will spread further to the east into the Maritimes by Friday afternoon and Saturday for Newfoundland. As I mentioned, high elevation snow that we're seeing tomorrow night. We're already seeing some high elevation snow this morning. Clear, a little bit of a ridge of high pressure for the BC coast. Rain pushing in for the weekend, and it's going to be pretty heavy as well. So I mentioned we've got that ridge of high pressure bringing us the warmth in Ontario. That's what you just saw there. But why are we seeing the snow, the high elevation snow in the west? Well, a couple of reasons. We've got this Gulf of Alaska low. That brings us our cool air aloft. But then we get this surge of moist Pacific air out of the southwest. A lot of rain associated with that. But because we've got cool air and precip, that equals snow. Freezing level, that's expected to drop to about 1,500 meters as we head into the weekend. Good news for skiers, though. Here's how that cold front progresses in Ontario. It's going to slide in through the overnight, linger into Friday morning. Gusts expected with this, and also the risk of some thunderstorms, too. Thanks, Deb. Yeah, really exciting stuff. And we actually are dealing with some high elevation snow through the morning hours in Alberta today. I'm Michelle. As we look a little bit further to the east, we have a potent system that's going to be rolling through southern Ontario and the eastern half of our country Friday and beyond. Winds are going to be a big issue with this as the cold front slides through the overnight into your pre-dawn hours, gusts 60 to 80 kilometers an hour. And the risk is there for some thunderstorms. Right now, it's Share Your Weather. We love. That's our locals on the 10s, and we know that you love them as well. So we are going to make you even happier because starting on Monday, we are going to have a new local forecast on the 6s. It's only going to be 1 minute, gives you everything you need to know. Plus, we're still doing our locals on the 10s, so you're really going to enjoy that. Okay, let's get into your weather story as we head across the country this afternoon. Temperatures, look at this. I don't know about you, but my eyes are really drawn to southern Ontario. Going to be feeling like the mid-20s for Toronto. The chances there to be breaking some records. A little bit cooler in through the prairies. Seasonal though, BC, mild, double digits for the most part, and a break in the rain before we get into some heavier rain as we move into the weekend. Rain for the lower elevations, but that means snow for the higher elevations. Saturday, we're going to see that freezing level drop to around 1,500 meters. And that means some of the peaks, the higher elevations, you could see up to 25 centimeters of snow on the ground there. We are picking up on some snow through the foothills this morning. Also areas northwest of Edmonton picking up on some mixing. Don't be surprised if in Edmonton you see a light flurry or two through the morning, but that will clear out as we get into Friday, and your temperatures, they are on the rise this weekend. This warm front to the north, though, that's bringing us some mixed precip. Right now, here's Nathan Coleman in the east. And Mark is going to be out in the field once again tomorrow in southern Ontario because we are going to be dealing with a windy, kind of rainy day too. I'm Michelle Mackey. Grab a cup of coffee. Got a lot to cover. Developing stories look like this. We are going to be talking about November record heat in Ontario. Wicked winds on the way, though. As I mentioned, that's going to cool the temperatures down into the weekend, and a storm analysis for tomorrow. So we're going to have lots more on that coming up. But let's take a little bit of a recap. These are some of the records that we have broken. Wednesday, we also had some on Tuesday as well. This isn't unheard of. These temperatures have happened before. Enjoy them while you can. This afternoon, it's going to be another warm one. Look at this, feeling like 27 in London. But as mentioned, that is going to change. A cold front associated with a low is going to slide through, bring us some very strong winds. In fact, it's the same low that did this. Thank you, Rachel. Really good to have you along here. My name is Michelle Mackey. And before we get into our weather story, and we're going to touch on everything right across the country, I want to highlight this. We know you love your local forecast on the 10s, so we are going to double your local forecast starting next Monday, and we will now have a 1-minute local forecast on the 6s as well. So I hope you're as excited as I am about that. We're going to start with our weather story in the east. So you know we've been dealing with all of this record-breaking heat in southern Ontario over the past few days. It is going to change change on Friday. Through the overnight tonight into Friday morning, this cold front is going to slide through, bring us some really gusty winds and also some rainfall. Now, it's certainly not going to be as heavy as the rain that we had last week with that classic fall storm, only about 4 millimeters, for example, in Toronto. We'll see higher amounts a little bit further to the north just with the way that low is tracking. But then in behind that system, we are going to see a clearing for the weekend, yes, in Quebec and Ontario, but your temperatures, they are going to be a little bit cooler, and Saturday we could see a lake effect shower or two east of the Great Lakes. By next Monday, though, we'll see a nice clearing in Atlantic Canada, but you've got an unsettled weekend in store. All right, let's take you to some must-see video here. We actually don't have that. So do we have that? We do have that up. Yeah, let's take you to this must-see video. This is our In Force of Nature Extended. Let's take a national overview. Temperatures on Saturday. Look at how much cooler they are going to be in through Toronto. Still mild in Atlantic Canada. Enjoy it while you can. Cool in through Manitoba, but a nice warm up in store for Alberta. A warm front sliding through. That's going to warm things up for you. Some cool air aloft though in BC. That's going to drop those freezing levels, which means we're going to be seeing some snow. From your weather headlines around the world to your weather story here at home. I'm Michelle Mackey with you on this Thursday, November the 5th. We're going to get into a bit of a long range outlook here. We're going to start on Friday and watch how these systems progress over the next couple of days. A big weather maker in the eastern half of this country is this low right here. That's going to be cooling some of those temperatures down in behind that low and also bringing some very gusty conditions to the Maritimes and Atlantic Canada through the weekend. Now, as we look a little bit further to the west, the Prairies this weekend, we are going to see a warm up. So don't worry, Calgary at 6 degrees for Friday. High pressure, a ridge is going to build in. We'll be in the double digits by Saturday, but Monday, a cool down is in store. And you'll note that the Prairies do have the risk of getting into some flurries. A weak clipper system tries to develop in Alberta. Not quite sure on if it actually will form into a very strong system, but as of right now, looking quite weak, clearing up for Monday for the BC coast, finally getting into some sunny breaks. But over the weekend, we are talking about some extensive rainfall. Now, through Friday morning, as that cold front slides through Ontario, we do have the risk of some non-severe thunderstorms. The biggest risk associated with these thunderstorms will be wind. We're already looking at gusts between 60 and 80 kilometers an hour for southern Ontario and rainfall amounts between 4 to 10 millimeters, but we could see some stronger systems with that storm. Will be 9 degrees. That is bang on seasonal. Into the weekend, though, we are going to see a nice warm up. But before we get there, we do have some active weather to speak of. I'm Michelle Mackey. Good to have you here. As we move into your Friday, we have a low pressure system a little bit further to the west of us. That's going to slide through, bring us some showers in the warm sector to start, but the heavier rain, that will be for New Brunswick as we get into your Friday afternoon. The rain won't be quite as heavy by the time it reaches Atlantic Canada in comparison to what we're seeing in through parts of Quebec and Ontario. We'll also see some gusty winds with this, but temperatures ahead of it, as I mentioned, warming up nicely. Let's take a look at what we're seeing on Saturday. Halifax, 16 degrees. We're even seeing those double digits return to Newfoundland. Certainly not the case today, and we are dealing with a little bit of snow, too. I know, say it ain't snow, but we've got to talk about it. We are approaching winter. Not feeling like that in southern Ontario, though. Your temperatures well above seasonal. The yellow there, that's an indication of what it's going to be feeling like when you factor in the humidity. We could potentially break a record in Toronto. Pearson, your daytime record for this day is 20 degrees. If we get above it, new record, fingers crossed for that. But it's not going to last. So we talked about that low pressure system in Atlantic Canada before it gets there. Here's what it's going to do in through Ontario through the overnight. That'll slide through the south, bring us some really gusty winds, gusting out of the southwest between about 60 and 80 kilometers an hour, continuing into tomorrow morning. It's also going to bring us a thunderstorm risk from Windsor up towards the eastern shores of Lake Huron, the biggest risk being some gusty winds. Now, as we transition a little bit further, so skiers rejoice, and we are expecting a little bit more high elevation snow as we head into the weekend, especially over on the BC side. Temperatures are cool today, but seasonal. Keep that in mind. We could see some snow as temps drop in the evening through southern Manitoba. Not much in the way of accumulation, but your temperatures are going to take a bit of a nosedive through the overnight, and that's thanks to some northwesterly winds in through Saskatchewan. That'll be bringing us a little bit of a wind chill. For BC, enjoy the sunshine today while you can. It's going to be a different story as we move into tomorrow. Some heavy rain expected for the south coast, and then your freezing levels, those are going to drop into the weekend, which means a lot of snow on the way. Always so much fun with Kim McDonald in Around the World in 60 Seconds. And now to your weather story here at home. I'm Michelle Mackey. As we look at our forecast conditions right across the country, what really stands out to me, and probably you as well, is the warmth in through southern Ontario. Yeah, enjoy it while you can, because we have a big game changer as we head in through the overnight tonight and into tomorrow. Cool through the prairies, but seasonal, and a break from the rain for the BC coast. Rain will push in, though, as we head into your Friday, and it's going to be pretty heavy at times. We're going to start in the prairies, and let's talk about southern Manitoba. This is the same low that's going to be bringing all of that cool air in behind it for Ontario into the weekend. But today, what it's doing is bringing a special weather statement for southern Manitoba, and that is because we do have the potential, as the temperatures drop through the evening, to be getting the first snowfall of this season. Not much in the way of accumulation. A weak system that'll slide in for Friday, bringing a mixed bag of precip, but clearing out and warming up as well for Saskatchewan and Alberta into the weekend. The warmth will take a little bit longer to get to Manitoba, but yeah, as I mentioned, we're already feeling that warmth in through Ontario, well above seasonal, feeling even warmer when you factor in the humidity. But as that cold front associated with that low slides through southern Ontario tonight and into tomorrow morning, it is going to bring with it a risk of some non-severe thunderstorms. Angry Planet starts up in less than 30 seconds, but first let's take a look at our forecast conditions across the country this afternoon. Yeah, nice and warm in through southern Quebec, southern Ontario, a little bit overcast in the Maritimes with snow for Newfoundland. Not much in the way of accumulation. Speaking of snow, as we move into the evening, southern Manitoba, we could get our first snowfall of the season. Cool in through Saskatchewan with some breezy northwesterly winds, and cloud cover beginning to build in for the BC coast. A lot of rain expected tomorrow, continuing in through the weekend.